Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. I rise today on behalf of our Yukon Liberal government to pay tribute to International Pronouns Day. My pronouns are she and her. Pronouns play a major role in defining who we are and how we perceive others. They are essential in affirming people's gender identities and acknowledging their authentic selves. Our words matter. The language we use serves as a lens through which we perceive and interpret the world around us. The significance of International Pronouns Day extends beyond courtesy and linguistic correctness. It's about validating individuals, fostering inclusivity, and ensuring that everyone feels valued and respected. Recognizing the importance of pronouns extends beyond today. It is a year-round endeavor that requires our ongoing commitment to education and understanding. The burden of normalizing correct pronoun use should not rest solely on the shoulders of transgender or gender non-conforming people. I encourage all cisgender Yukoners to reflect on their gender identity and what it means to them. We need to affirm everyone's gender identity and gender expression, as this is part of how we respect, value, and affirm all members of our community. Even if you are not a member of the 2S LGBTQIA community and you think sharing your pronouns is not necessary for you, remember, you are not doing it for yourself. Sharing your pronouns is an act of allyship because it creates a safe space for everyone else to share theirs without being singled out. Furthermore, when cisgender people share their pronouns, it deconstructs the idea that gender identity can be assumed based on one's outward appearance. That idea conforms to and reinforces the gender binary and leads to harmful stereotyping of gender expression. In the Yukon, we support the use of correct pronouns through inclusive policies and language guidelines and fostering safe and inclusive spaces in our schools because education is key to building a society free of prejudice. Recently, we've seen a rise in political movements and legislation that targets the rights of transgender people in Canada and internationally. Teaching children about diversity and inclusivity is essential for building a more tolerant, equitable, and compassionate society. It equips them with the skills and attitudes needed to navigate the world with empathy and understanding. May this International Pronouns Day be a reminder that sharing one's pronouns and being respectful of the pronouns of others is a simple yet powerful way to champion and normalize diversity and inclusivity. Thank you.
Member for Porter Creek Centre.
Thank you. I rise on behalf of the Yukon Party official opposition to recognize International Pronouns Day, which took place on October 18th. This day was established in 2018 to help bring awareness to gender-inclusive language and provide more information about what pronouns mean to people. Respect for others is key to a healthy community, and it is important to recognize that using the preferred pronouns of an individual is one of the easiest ways to show respect and acknowledgement for someone who is transgender or gender nonconforming. Understanding when and how to use preferred pronouns may not come easily to all, and mistakes will be made. However, making the effort makes a difference to many. We will continue to do our best to make Yukon a welcoming place to everyone. Salamat po.
Member for Whitehorse Centre.
Thank you, Speaker. I rise on behalf of the Yukon NDP for International Pronouns Day, and I'd like to say some thank yous. Thank you to the trailblazers who showed us what was possible, even when everyone told them it wasn't. Thank you to the people who kicked and kicked at heteronormativity until the cracks began to show, because in those cracks there's room for so many more of us. Thank you to Ivan Coyote for their poem, Mantra for the Misgendered. I thought about trying to read it here and decided I couldn't do it justice. But thank you for creating space and hope for so many, including myself. Thank you to Heather Kutai, the Human Rights Commissioner of Saskatchewan, who resigned this week. over Saskatchewan's discriminatory pronoun policy being forced into schools. Thank you to the students in Saskatchewan and New Brunswick who so bravely shared their stories about how these anti-trans policies are hurting and endangering them. Thank you to the people who are fighting back against anti-trans hate across the country through court cases and protests and solidarity. Thank you to all the people who support their family, friends, students, coworkers, and community members in so many ways. Thank you to all the people who practice new pronouns on their own until they get it right. Most of all, thank you to the incredible members of the trans community who provide so much love and support and protection for each other. Thank you for fighting for a place for all of us.
Are there any returns or documents for tabling? Leader of the third party.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I have for tabling today a letter calling on highlighting the teacher on-call shortage that has been sent to numerous peoples in this House for tabling.
Are there any reports of committees? Are there any petitions to be presented? Are there any bills to be introduced? Are there any notices of motions? Minister of Education.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. I rise to give notice of the following motion, that this House expresses the expresses the disappointment with the Government of Quebec for their decision to raise tuition rates for non-residents of Quebec attending English-speaking post-secondary institutions in Quebec, and 2, urges the Government of Quebec to reverse this decision, and 3, supports the Government of Yukon in their commitment to offering French first and second language education options in the Yukon.
Member for Lake Labarge.
Deputy Speaker, I rise today to give notice of the following motion, that this House urges the Minister of Highways and Public Works to order a review of safety at the intersection of the Mayo Road and the Alaska Highway to determine how well changes made in recent years are working and whether additional measures such as improved signage or a flashing light are needed to improve safety.
Leader of the third party.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I rise to give notice of the following motions, that this House urges the Auditor General of Canada to conduct a performance audit of the Yukon Business Nominee Program and the Yukon Nominee Program, and also the following motion, that this House do order the return of documents showing the savings from the closures of 1, the Queen's Printer, and 2, government stores.
Is there a statement by a minister? Minister of Education.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. As the Minister of Education and the Minister responsible for the Women and Gender Equity Directorate, I am deeply invested in ensuring that every student in the Yukon feels safe, respected, and included, especially for students from the 2S LGBTQIA community. Just 2 months ago, we took an important step forward by updating our sexual orientation and gender identity SOGI policy. This move aligns with the Yukon's LGBTQ2S+ inclusion action plan and embodies our unwavering commitment to inclusivity. We have modernized the language, clarified roles, and turned our recent Education Act amendments into an actionable policy. Through training and professional development, we are translating this policy into actions that empower our educators to foster a culture that welcomes all identities. Another example of our commitment to this work is the recently announced partnership between the Department of Education and the ARC Foundation, a charitable foundation supporting SOGI inclusion educational practices in K-12 school settings. The foundation's SOGI 1, 2, 3 inclusive education supports a collection of lesson plans and resources that are renowned for equipping educators to make all students feel safe and educated in school. The ARC Foundation is also supporting our schools in the development of school-based procedures and guidelines that will help them fully implement our SOGI policy. Rainbow Rooms, Gender and Sexuality Alliance, or GSAs, and planned activities to celebrate diversity in some of our schools are notable examples of how our communities are embracing this journey towards inclusivity for all. Each elementary school and secondary school follows its own path on this journey based on the specific needs of their students. Our aim is to nurture an environment where every student feels valued and safe, irrespective of their age and grade. I am aware that some parents and families in our community have concerns about SOGI education. However, it's crucial to understand that almost 2/3 of 2S LGBTQIA students report feeling unsafe at school. While families have every right to teach their own values at home, children also have human rights. These are protected under the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, which includes the right to be safe in their schools. Our schools also have a legal and ethical duty to ensure that safety and inclusion, the safety and inclusion of every student. We teach about different religions and cultures at school, but we don't teach students to change their belief systems. No one chooses their sexual orientation or gender identity simply because they learned about it in school. I'm always open for discussions on continuous efforts towards fostering inclusivity in Yukon schools. Our doors are open for a meaningful dialogue that contributes to a broader understanding and support for our 2S LGBTQIA students. On behalf of Government of Yukon, I want to express my deepest gratitude to educators, administrators, and all school staff in our schools. Thank you.
Official Opposition House Leader.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'd like to thank the Minister for delivering this statement here today on the updates to the Sexual Orientation and Gender Identity, or SOGI, policy, as well as for the August 17th letter that she sent us outlining the changes made so far and what would be looked at in the next phase of the review. We believe all students need to feel safe, respected, and welcome at schools in the Territory. That's why the Yukon Party initially introduced a school SOGI policy in 2012. In the August letter, the Minister outlined 3 areas of focus for the changes: modernizing language to ensure it is inclusive, current, and relevant, the requirements outlined in Bill 304, and finally, addressing the use of pronouns for students, updating terminology to be trans-inclusive, and clarifying points of contact and responsibilities at both the department and school levels. The issue that we've seen making news in other jurisdictions is the use of pronouns and the appropriateness of parents being informed of their child's choice, or in some cases, needing to consent to that choice. This is something we've heard about from Yukon families as well that are seeking clarification from the Minister on this issue. The policy itself states, and I'll quote, "Administrators, staff, and students will recognize people's correct pronouns as declared by the individuals themselves. This requirement applies to students who have not made official changes to their name or gender in school records," close quote. So the question for the Minister is, what role do parents, caregivers, or guardians have in the child's pronoun choice? Is there currently a duty to inform them if their child chooses a different pronoun? Is the Minister considering different rules regarding the need to inform families depending on the age of the student? Obviously, circumstances will vary from child to child and family to family, so how is this policy reflective of those differences? I think we can all agree on the need for students to feel safe, respected, and welcome at school. We can also all agree that the success of a student increases when their parents or guardians are partners in their education. It is also important that parents and students feel respected by the government and that all reasonable concerns and suggestions are treated seriously. This is an issue that many people have strong views on, and it is important that government sincerely try to foster respectful discussions and dialogue where parents and students all are heard and are treated with respect. So when the Minister responds, can she tell us where to direct families who have questions or concerns with the policy as it exists? And how can families offer their thoughts on the next phase that is being developed? And what opportunities will they have for input on the proposed policy? Thank you.
Leader of the third party.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. So there has just been a quick change on our side as we try to process actually the statement from the Yukon Party in response to this. So first and foremost, let me just say that gender identity and one's chosen pronouns, not preferred pronouns, should be respected at all times. A child should be able to decide, and it should be respected in school. And so what we have heard just right now from my colleagues is worrisome for me. So back to the SOGI policy, we appreciate the update. We will have questions at different points. But right now, more than ever, it is important that we in this assembly stand by children as they're making these decisions. And this is not nearly as prepared as it was expected to be. But having been to schools and having sat with children, it's also important to note that when we talk about pronouns, we're not talking about preferred pronouns, we're talking about chosen pronouns. They identify who we are, and it is important that it is reflected in this policy, and we appreciate that. We expect that there will need to be more work, more education around this, and I believe that will be a conversation for another day.
Minister of Education.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Thank you for the comments made, and I think that, I want to just reiterate just how important this topic is to so many Yukoners, and how we share valuable information such as what our schools are doing to increase safety, and that it really does matter. We are fortunate to be able to share this information with Yukoners and hear from all three parties on the record. And I think today is an important example of that on this topic through the opportunity provided by ministerial statements. These statements are crucial for keeping the public informed, encouraging healthy debate in this democratic institution, and will serve as valuable resources for future generations, providing insights into current economic, social, and political landscapes. And I have to just point this out because it's important. In yesterday's issue of the Yukon News, I noted the member for Lake Labarge and the member for, and I know it's different topics every day, and the member for Whitehorse Centre essentially said that these statements are not important. And I hope the members don't think highlighting the importance of inclusivity in schools is a waste of the electorate's time. Our government certainly does not. Honourable Deputy Speaker, there are things worth repeating. And when we look at what is happening in Saskatchewan, where the government has tabled a bill with a notwithstanding clause to deprive trans children of their ability to feel safe, loved, and respected at school, I can say without doubt that this topic matters. The importance of a supportive environment for 2S LGBTQIA children and youth cannot be overstated. When they lack of perspective and support is not shown, the risk for suicide, depression, and other negative outcomes increase significantly. Support for families, adults, and peers in schools can help reduce these risks. I've already talked about some of the tools that we are bringing in to support educators, to support this dialogue, to ensure that we have age-appropriate learning around Yukon's physical and health education curriculum, literacy around health and active living, social and community health, and mental well-being. In the months ahead, we will be engaging again with all partners in education, including parents, families, and others, to further refine our SOGI policy to address broader issues such as trans inclusion in sports. That's another topic that we're talking about. This collaborative approach ensures that our policies continue to evolve in line with the needs and aspirations of our diverse school communities. Honourable Speaker, all youth and staff deserve a safe and supportive school environment. Our government is committed to advancing gender equity and championing equity in our schools. I thank you for the debate today. I know there will be a lot more to come in the months to come, and I thank you.